Hi everyone that's joining on. We've just got a few people jumping on, so like usual, we'll give it a bit of a few moments just to let everyone sort of join in on today's session of the FAQ hour. For those that know me, Timothy Cocaro, founder of Canibuild, just wanted to welcome you all for joining this latest installment. We've got quite a few interesting developments to go through, as in all our presentations. Feel free to interrupt me as I go along with any questions that you might have or any issues that you face. We're happy to sort of address those as we go along. There's no need no need for this to be too formal, and we're very keen to sort of answer your questions. So I'll just give it a few more moments as people join in. Regardless, for anyone that's missed the session, as always, we upload our recordings of these webinars onto our YouTube channel, so feel free to sort of go there if you haven't already. It's a good resource to see quite a few different videos that we've done over the past couple of months, and obviously you'll be able to see all the previous webinars as well. So what I might do is I might kick things off, and I'll just touch base on exactly what we'll be going through. So today we'll be going through a few things. We'll be going through touching base on the marketplace a little bit. We'll be talking about all the architectural plans that we provide, be it for shed pool builders, for granny flats, for garage and farm building builders as well. So we'll cross and give you a few examples of how they look, as well as the pricing. We'll talk a little bit about the payment gateway. We'll talk about some of the new integrations that you may have seen in the admin panel already, such as our realestate.com integration, our Zapier integration, our Hubspot integration. So anyone looking to sort of connect their CRM or make most use of Canibuild, that'll be a good session for you as well. We'll touch lightly on house and land packaging, and then I'll dive into just a normal demo of the actual application, because we've been getting a lot of feedback that many people are surprised that we can now do multi-structure, so you can build a house or pull a shed on the same build. There's a lot of features that we've done over the last couple of months with design options, etc. So it might be a good refresher just to touch base on those, and that'll be a good opportunity for anyone to ask questions as well. So hope everyone that's joining with us, our Australian clients, are keeping dry, especially our Queensland clients. It's been a pretty horrific last week or so, and it doesn't look like it's letting up. And especially in construction, I hope everyone's roofs are not leaking and things like that. But enough with the negatives. Let's jump on the positives, and I'll kickstart the presentation and go from there. So let me just share my screen and kick things off. So hopefully everyone can see the screen there. It's getting live streamed to Facebook as well for anyone that wants to sort of jump in on there as well. But let's kick things off. So anyone that's a new client, thank you for joining us. Anyone that's an existing client, that's long-term clients, I can see some of the names there. Welcome back. So as always, Canibuild's a client-facing sales app tool. We've got our dashboard will always remain simple and straightforward. You can now see, and you may have noticed that the starting point is now your registered address. So rather than sort of jumping somewhere within New South Wales or Victoria or Queensland or New Zealand or the US, it'll just go to your registered address. So if you put that into your company settings, that's where the starting point is. Now, on the search address bar, we'll be going to a very unfamiliar address, 78 Hood Street, Yaguna. So we've gone to this address. Now, here what I'll do is I'll touch on the marketplace items. So the marketplace is found, and I'll also touch on, and I hope I don't forget adding clients as well. But let's just jump to cart. In cart, there's a few marketplace items that you can sort of purchase. Now, to access the full gamut of services, it'll depend on the actual build type that you're electing to sort of drop onto the site itself. So if we go to designs and start with, say, a pool, and let's select one of these pools. This one looks great. So as always, we're able to place a pool just in the same way as you'll place a granny flat or an ADU or a home. And here, once we place that pool, if we go to cart, you'll notice that quite a few more items spring up because the marketplace actually reacts to the build that you're actually building. So here from the top, you can see that we can do approvals. Now, what that means is we can actually do the full approval service for you. So while you're siting for your client, be it a pool, or another build type, say a garage or a shed, you're able to place it, work with the client as to exactly what they want. You can start doing your typical fence lines and annotations, etc. And you can actually go and get an approval. So here you can see the approval here. In this case, CDC approval, because we're in New South Wales. If you're in Queensland, it'll change. If you're in New Zealand, it'll change. And you can actually proceed to a full approval. That means all the approval documents, submissions to council, a certifier, as well as all the inspection points that are required. So you can see what the time frame is there and what the ETA is. You can also purchase other things such as the titles, and you can purchase 88Bs, you can purchase geotechnical surveys, bower reports. But something that a lot of our clients are purchasing on a very regular basis is our architectural plans. So you're able to then purchase these architectural plans in much the same way. So you can see at the bottom here, an architectural plan for a pool is at a $195 and a 3-day ETA. I think you'll find that that's incredibly cost effective as well as a very short time frame. So basically you're able to purchase these. The nice thing about these purchases is when you do go to agree to T's and C's, and notice that here you can attach documents that might be associated to the approval, go to checkout, and you're able to order this and a payment gateway will pop up. This payment gateway can be connected to your bank account, which means as soon as you put in the credit card details of the client, it'll transact right then and there, and then you're able to sort of already send this request through. And the same is with approvals, etc. You can also add your margin on these items. So while, if I go back to cart, while an architectural might show $195 for a pool, you can very easily go to admin, go to a quick plug out for Cooperra Sheds. But if I go to the marketplace icon here, you can notice that if I go to pools, you'll be able to see the architectural plans there, second from the bottom, number 7 at $195 with a $0 margin. You can actually add a margin there quite easily. This could be a percentage margin or a dollar margin, and you're able to then showcase on the front end that this might be $295, and then a $100 margin goes to yourself. And then that difference will be straight into your bank account via Stripe. We can also integrate into Xero, MyOp, any other accounting package to make sure you don't lose track of those orders and they're always transacted with full detail. But coming back here, how do these architecturals actually look? So I can quickly showcase that. Let me just share my full screen. So these are actual examples. So this first example here, this is of architectural Lite. So you can actually purchase a $79 architectural set of drawings. If all you want to do is have some basic information, in some jurisdictions, this is enough. So this is a very cost-effective way to be able to prepare documentation for approval. You can see it's high fidelity, nice detail, and quite clean. And this is what you'll be getting for the $79 version. The $195 version is the next one I'll show you. So this is a lot more in full detail. So it's giving you those landscape ratios. It's giving you all the details, safety fencing requirements, additional attachments specific to that local jurisdiction. So this is what you'll get for $195 within 3 days. So this gives you that sort of flexibility to sort of not only transact via Canibuild in front of the client and say, did you want to just proceed with those plans? The plans are, I know I'm biased, but one of the best I've seen, and for the time frame, I think that's quite impressive. So definitely, if this is something that's of interest, reach out to us and we can discuss more. Our co-founder Nug will be happy to sort of speak to you about that. Jumping to the one on the right, this is showing you issued for construction plans. These are the architecturals again, but this is for a garage builder. So here from the top, again, we've got the site plan, we've got the overall context plan, we've got the actual elevations of the garage itself. So again, whether you're a pool builder, garage builder, or even a granny flat builder, we're offering those services to them. Definitely reach out if this is something of interest. But in the end of the day, to get a high quality set of drawings for $79 for the Lite, $195 for the detail. Granny flat drawings is a lot more involved, so that's at $295. But to have that done within 3 days of the request at that low price, again, I'm biased, but I think that's a pretty good value. So let me jump back to the main screen. So again, we've got other items that you can take advantage of. You can take advantage of bushfire reports or geotechnical surveys. So for instance, here we've got a geotech survey for $850 within 7 days. So even if you have your own consultants, we can plug those consultants in. There's no cost to that, and we can work with you on that. So say, for instance, you have your trusted geotechnical surveyor and you want to keep using him or her, that's fine. You can do that, but still take advantage of the payment gateway so you can transact. And what they'll receive in that order is all the details, the site where you're planning on building, all the information around that, and they'll be able to be on the same page as yourself straight away. So it's pretty easy to do that. And then what happens is, say, for instance, your consultant doesn't cover all areas. In other areas, you can then take advantage of our services for that. So then you're always covered and you don't have to start phoning around for quotes either, because the price is always listed and the ETA is listed, and that's what is being committed to. So definitely jump in and have a look at CART. If CART feels a bit light, it may be because we haven't turned those services on, and then simply call us and we'll turn those services on and you'll be able to see that. So that is definitely something that's been quite used quite aggressively by our clients. To give you some idea, we get about 4,500 orders a day, miscellaneous orders. So that's quite a lot of transactions. And it's just because it's easier, faster, and just more practical. You don't have to go running around, and it's a one-stop shop for that. And if there's any items you wish that was in there, definitely reach out and let us know. So jumping back, the next point that I want to sort of touch on, and I've got a question here. Oh, my notes are showing up on screen, are they? So you can see that I need some guidance to know what step is step, but these are the points that I'm sort of going through. Let me go back to sharing Chrome. Fortunately, I didn't have any my PIN number there or anything like that. So going back, the next step, we've got integrations. You may have also noticed in the admin, we're jumping to admin and going to integration tab. You can see that we've got some native integrations going on right now. So we've got Zapier integration. So if anyone's using Airtables or wanting to sort of trigger an email as a result of something, or any of the thousands of applications you can integrate with Zapier, this is definitely something that you can now take advantage of. So for instance, when adding contacts, you can use Zapier to then trigger something else or populate a spreadsheet or things like that. So, and again, if you haven't used Zapier before, simply go to zapier.com and you'll be able to see all the apps that it integrates with, which is pretty much all of them. There's tens of thousands in that list. We've also got native integrations to realestate.com. This is in regards to our house and land packaging that you can sort of push out the packages that you do, and I'll touch on those. You've also got Hubspot integration, which is a native integration, because HubSpot's doing a tremendous job into expanding within the construction industry. and quite a few of our clients are migrating to HubSpot, and we've partnered up with a few integrators in that regard. So even if you're thinking about implementing HubSpot, reach out to us and we can put you into contact with some of our partners that are doing a tremendous job and understand construction, which you need to do. Now, just because the CRM that you're using might not be here, or you're relying on domain or others, that doesn't mean we don't have integrations. We've integrated to many CRMs, be it Dynamics, etc., but we're slowly doing it in a way that you can do it yourself. In the meantime, simply reach out to us and we're happy to do that for you, and there's no cost to that. I've got a quick question from Ami Patel in regards to how the integrations actually work. Now, I should have set one up, which I haven't, and I might dedicate an entire webinar just on integrations. But how it works is this. I'll showcase one case scenario. So I'll jump back to the main screen. First of all, if I go back to admin, and the question, guys, was just run us through an example of how this integration works. The first point is here, there's an API key. So this connects to your Zapier account. So it knows that Canibuild is now connected via Zapier. So if you've already got a Zapier account, you'll know what that is. If you don't, by going to zapier.com, you'll be able to understand how that platform works. Basically, it's just a way where two different applications, it could be Canibuild or Excel, or Canibuild and Mile, or Canibuild, or any number of different apps, Zapier lets you talk to each other. So if we jump back and give a real life example, in client, you can start typing in the client. Now, it lists all the gyms that you've had in the past. So let's just say we add Jim Harris as the client here. Say you click add client, because there's multiple clients, and this is again a feature that some of you may not be aware of. So Jim Harris is the primary client. We can click additional clients. Let's go John De Silva, and you're able to sort of add more and more clients, or associate parties. Could be real estate agents, or it could be husband, wife, the kids, the uncles, the brothers, whoever might be party to this. Now, the integration example can be when you do add these clients in, and these clients are associated to this address, you could have it so you want to compile a Airtable or a spreadsheet of all the clients that are being added by your sales team or yourself, so you remember. So that integration will allow you to say, for example, in Airtable have Jim Harris, one column with Jim Harris, another column with the other contacts. So it's going through John De Silva, another column with the address of the property that they got associated with, another column with the pool design, another column with the price, etc. So then you're building up this spreadsheet. Or you might want to trigger an email that when you add a client in, you trigger an email with a time delay of a day, and then it automatically sends an email after a day, or potentially after 3 hours that automatically says, thank you so much for your time at working with us on your pool. We thank you for the opportunity, etc., etc., and then it automatically sends an email. So the Zapier allows you to do quite a lot. The integration with HubSpot, for example, if you were to generate a site plan or documentation or order something, you can use that integration to house the PDF within HubSpot as a central source of, single source of truth. You can also use HubSpot to draw from your contacts. So when Canibuild is, if I close this off, and I'm looking at these contacts could actually be drawing from HubSpot and vice versa. So a lot of builders are using this two-way. One way, because someone walks into a display, adds their contact details, it gets inserted into HubSpot or whatever CRM you're using. Or if you add it into the CRM, say through a lead gen from the website, it then can feed back into Canibuild. So I hope that gives a bit of insight as to what integration options there might be. So hopefully that gave some context, Ami, but happy to talk a lot more about that if need be. So jumping back, let me just get my trusty poster note with my next steps. So we've talked about a little bit about the payment gateway. just a little bit more on the payment gateway. If I go to payment, billing and usage, you can actually then see in payout, here is where the Stripe account gets linked. So you can see how easy it is. It takes about 5 minutes. But again, if you run into any trouble or need any help or want to ask any questions about this, all you have to do is ask. So the idea with the payment gateway, it's like, you know how some builders have those portable little tap and goes. This just turns Canibuild into a tap and go. So you can speak to a client and say, hey, let's just start off with this title. Let's just know what's happening and already tap and go essentially and get that transaction going. We've also got the ability to, in the billing, we've got usage, etc. But jumping across to the left-hand side, I'll just jump back. So hopefully that gives context there. Now, I'll touch quickly on house and land packaging as well, but I'll also go into a few other details. With house and land packaging, that's as simple as clicking the filing cabinet on the right-hand side of the address, clicking on these 3 dots and packaging the deal. So how it works is you cite something. So let's just do one now. So this one's a pool. Let's click new draft. So we'll start with a house. Let's just go the Berkeley design. Let's place as per normal. And I'll touch on a few things that we've been developing over the last couple of weeks that's already been released, but just to make sure that everyone's aware. On the left-hand side, you can see these design options. So you can actually apply design options as you go along. So say, for instance, this is a house and land packaging. You go, look, this is the design I want to package on this property, but I want this to be the double garage option. So let's click on double garage. So we've got the double garage. We also want the grand living option because we want to sort of extend this out a bit because it's a decently sized block. So now we've got that. So you can see that you can make changes. You can change the colors to whatever you like. So now we've got that. We can click on facades and we can choose a specific facade. We want to go with the Hampton facade. So we've got these options here. We're checking the rules to make sure that we're compliant. There's an issue here that we're breaching the site setback by a minuscule 2 centimeters. So let's just move that into place. So now we've got that there. You can now go into the quote feature. You can see that it's already priced up those design options. And we can add a few things, say on this, we're doing aircon. We've done the slope cost, and then we know what the site cost might be, et cetera, et cetera. We add that in. So now we've got a price. Now you can go to cart. You can just double check that you're happy with everything, click flyer and order. And these design options are applicable to pool companies, shed companies, but obviously it's a little bit more relevant to house home builders or granny flat builders. So here we've just generated a flyer, which is kicked off. We can just generate a site plan as well. And please note that these are zero cost items on our platform, so they don't cost anything. And you can request as many as you like. It has no consequence on your account itself. So we'll leave these pending, but while they do, I'll go back to explain how the packaging works. So as soon as you're happy with this design, the options, the price, you can just simply click package the deal. And when you package a deal, what will happen is it'll convert itself to something like just above, which is the gym house and land special. So, and then it's that simple. Now, once you do that, that's all it is. You've already packaged it. And now it's a question of where you want to push that through. So you want to push that through to realestate.com, or you want to push it to your own website. All you have to do is on the top right-hand side, click My Packages. And My Packages is running through and trying to gather all the packages that you might have on your system. So we'll give that 1 or 2 seconds to generate. And once that comes up, you'll be able to see the example. So here you can see the gym house and land special with the Hampton facade. You can click these 3 dots, and then you can see at the bottom it says, please activate key. This is where you go into your REA integration, place your key, activate your REA integration, and then you'll be able to click on this and you'll see some actions. And the actions will be pushed through to realestate.com. You'll then be able to have the opportunity to double check your descriptions, your attributes, such as how many bedrooms, etc., but it'll already generate the flyer, the site plan, and have this collateral sent through. And then you'll be able to push that through to realestate.com. And it's that simple. So literally you could package something in just a few minutes if you really wanted to. And this service can be turned on at any notice, anytime you want. You've got other platforms you want to integrate to, Domain, iBuildNew, or others. There's no issue there as well. We can do that. So jumping back, hopefully that gives you a bit of insight in terms of how those house and land packaging works. Jumping back, and feel free, guys, if you've got questions about other aspects of the system, feel free to jump in and ask away. So here just to recap, we've touched on the marketplace. We've gone through some of the examples of what you can produce, particularly the plans. Please note we can do the approvals as well for granny flats, pools and sheds in all jurisdictions across Australia, across New Zealand. And for the architectural plans, we're doing across the United States as well. The payment gateway, the integrations, and house and land packaging. Now, you may have noticed that when I was talking about the house and land packaging, I mentioned that you can push it out to realestate.com, and you can also push it out to your own website. That's simple to do as well. And when your own website, you might be saying, how's that done? Let me give you a showcase of how that might look. So you're able to embed Canibuild onto your website. So this is one example for advanced homes in Victoria. You can see here it's loading up this widget, which is a lightweight version of Canibuild. Once that loads up, what you'll see is a branded widget, which is in the company's colors and branding. It's not an exercise of shouting Canibuild all the time. And here you can see it's just a lightweight version of the app. On the top left-hand side, you have your address lookup, so you can look up a specific address. You've got your estates that you can look up, and you can see the map for you to choose. Now, this will be your clients accessing this widget. So here you can actually showcase all your house and land packages. You can actually showcase your house and land packages that float on top of this estate. So if you had done one on lot 3, for example, it'll showcase there, and there's a house and land package. So you can push it out to realestate.com, you can push it out to your website at the same time, and it's all presented well for your clients to have a look and see what's available. Then they pick on a lot, and this acts as a really high yielding lead generator where a client can see some action happening. They can see the block of land in the background, have that sort of want to register, and then they can register their details or just simply sign in. In this case, I'm already a user, so I'll sign in as myself. And then you'll be able to start playing around with the selected designs that you've pushed out to online, which could be in this case 3, or it could be 300. And then your end client can start playing around with what's possible, get flyers, etc., and start self-serving to a large degree. This could be for pool companies, granny flat companies, shed companies. It's just a nice way for clients to just be able to sort of access the system and be able to play around with the designs, and it means more leads to yourself. And then, so if you imagine that you might have people coming into a display, after the display, they go home on the Sunday with the family, they're just playing around with that block of land. And you can imagine the quality of the lead. You have their mobile number because they have to verify using a 4-digit key using their mobile. You'll have the address that they're looking up. You'll have the designs that they're focusing on. You'll have how many times they've logged in and out. So then you're in a situation where you can see that Joe Blogs have logged into your widget on your website a total of 22 times over the last 4 days, looking at this single address, jumping between this design and that design, or 3 designs. So you can imagine when you call, that is a very warm to hot lead, because unless Joe Blogs is insane, the reality is he's probably thinking of purchasing that block, or thinking of building and thinking of doing that design. So you've got that option as well. And that sort of just couples with the house and land packaging offering and makes it an end-to-end solution. So jumping back to Canibuild itself and looking at my trusted post-it notes. So we've touched on payment gateway, integrations, house and land. I've demoed the widget and I've touched on the house and land packaging. Now what I'll do is, let me just go through an actual example. I'll draft something and be able to just go through a demo, because there's been so many new developments. I think a lot of people have sort of missed out on some, and this gives you the opportunity to just ask questions as I go along. So let me just go to, let's switch it up. Let's go to an address in Queensland, because to be honest, even myself, after 5 years of going to Hood Street, it's getting to the point where maybe some change can help. So usually I say something along the lines of jumping to sunny Queensland, but let's not describe it that way right now. And I hope everyone, all our clients in Queensland, is safe as well, because it's pretty horrendous what's happening. So here we've got, again, we've just gone to a floor plan. So let's just start from scratch. Let's just delete that structure. Deleting, you just right click and click delete. And then I'll click on the address. So as soon as you get to an address, you're imagining that you're seeing something like this. So you've got your property boundaries, etc. I'm pretty sure everyone is familiar with that. You, on the left-hand side, you've got your site details, and you've got the ability to add client. I've already gone through adding client. You can sort of add a previous client and select from the list, or you can come up with a new name, which I'll struggle with. Let's Bob Harris. All right, Bob Harris. So click add. It'll ask you, is this the primary contact? It is. So let's just add an email for Bob Harris. And this is again touching on the integration point. So you can imagine how this can easily feed into any of your CRMs. Click save. We have Bob Harris now. Let's just say Bob Harris is just by himself. If you had others, you can simply add client. But let's just say we've got a client. So now we've got an address, we've got a client. We'll be going to, typically what I'll do always is click on the contour button on the right-hand side, just to get context of what's happening around the site, because you can see the aerial. You can switch the architectural by clicking the map button on the bottom left, getting that sort of clear-cut view. You can click on the contour buttons, which is on the right-hand side, second from the top, just beneath the little camera. And looking at these contours, just to reiterate, the contours, the thick solid lines are at 1 meter interval, the dashed lines are at 250. So in this case, from the front of this block to the back of the block, it's falling 1 to 3 meters, because there's 3 jumps of the 1 meter line. You can go into granular with the lines. If you zoom in, you see the RLs. But realistically, on a common sort of setup, especially if I'm, let's just say I'm doing a pool, I'm coming in here, I'm understanding your block sloping. That's already part of my conversation. Where are you thinking of building? There's going to be some site costs relating to this. You've got your sewer line, so you already know there might be some issues. Those areas might not be buildable, or you have to do build over applications and additional costs. So we've already got quite a bit of info there. Another thing that I'll typically do is you've got your Google Street View at the bottom right-hand side and your bird's eye view. Clicking bird's eye would be able to give you these ortho views of the site, so you can see it from the back. If you're doing extensions, or if you're doing something that relates to the existing build, you can see how that looks. There's a little navigation rotate button in the middle of the screen to the right, and you can use this to sort of rotate along. You can use it for site access, especially granny flat companies or companies looking to do adjoining ADUs or granny flats. You can see how many windows there might be, already start saying, look, that's going to, you know, what's on the other side of that window. We're going to have to renovate that. You can see the front. You can see all 4 sides of the build. So that's quite advantageous. So you can do that straight away. We've got another quick question. So I had a quick question from Rawad. Yep, it's just a password update request, not a problem, Rawad. Like if any of the teams listening, Jim, even yourself, we'll get that set up for you straight away. So that's all problem. And again, guys, feel free to ask me anything. Maybe, you know, if you want, you can find out the weather. It's pouring outside, so ask me pretty much whatever you want. So here we've done the contours, we've got the boundaries. Now we're just we've done the bird's eye view. You can do the Google Street preview. If you're a granny flat company, you might be looking at the curb to see if there's a stormwater outlet. You'll be able to get an idea in terms of parking, overhead wiring for if you're a fiberglass pool installer, et cetera, and it's all within the same app. Because the whole idea is, say you're the client listening in to this conversation right now, it's just a free-flowing discussion. Now, on the left-hand side, you've got designs. Here, just to reiterate, if you're a home builder in particular, you can click on the brain to automatically filter down the designs to those that work, particularly duplexes, etc. That makes light work of analyzing sites. You can sort by name and price. You can filter by any number of attributes. So just give me all the 4 bedrooms, or the shape of the pool, etc. Or you can just simply search by the name. So if I search for, say, a pool design, let me just filter by pools. And let's just pick a random pool. Very quickly, you've placed the pool on the design, and you can sort of place that, go into architectural view, and position that as need be. A quick tip, if you want to align the pool in the center of the block, have the snap turned on, which is on the right-hand side, the magnet, move it to the boundary, let it snap, and then bring it back in, and then they'll parallel itself up. So that's just an easy way rather than trying to sort of tweak the rotate buttons. You can always use this blue measurement mode to then be quite specific and say, I want this to be 5 meters for argument's sake. Now, here, this is where you can start getting a little bit creative. Say, for example, you're one of these companies that's doing a home and pools or other structures. You can even do multiple structures. So if I click back on designs by clicking the back arrow, you can now pick on the design. So let's go Orlando design, click on that. It'll ask you, do you want to keep or replace the existing structure? So did you want to keep or replace the pool? We want to keep. So we place that build on top. And now we've got a home that we can place as well. So let's just place that in. Again, just run it to the side, snap it, bring it forward, and then you're able to sort of position that quite simply. So now we've got a home and a pool. We can then sort of click on the home and then say, let's just make this 5 meters so it parallels up to the edge of that pool. And then we've got something that sort of makes sense. Now, so we've got 2 structures. The key takeaway is if you are clicking on the individual build types, so when you've got it focused on the house or the pool, notice that the rules actually change. So it knows what you're actually trying to approve, and it's also checking that it approves in conjunction with each other. We've got a few more questions. We've got Richard that's asking us, how did we turn on the utilities, i.e. water? We're loading in utilities everywhere. Just if you let us know which area that you're covering, we can tell you when those are coming on. For Queensland, it's pretty much covered. If it's not in your area, let us know. We'll turn those on for you straight away. Kylie, how did you? Same question from Kylie. So in some areas, unfortunately, we don't have all the data layers available. But some of the utility companies have either not done it or a bit slow in providing that. But if you let us know exactly where those are, which areas you're covering in specifically, we'll be able to get back to you in terms of a realistic ETA and the progress of that. But we're always loading more and more data every single day. And in Queensland, we've loaded quite a lot. In Victoria, we've loaded up all the easement information. In Perth, we've got all the easement information, so just let us know. Rawad, also your passwords in the email. Thanks, Jim, for that. So hopefully that answers that question. Local DCPs up. We've got an anonymous attendee. Hello, Mr. Anonymous or Mrs. Local DCP, yes, we updated. Now we're basically we trigger on any gazetted changes on the DCP. If those DCP changes, we change our system. So there's nothing that you have to do. If there's anything that you feel is amiss, again, definitely raise a support query and we'll jump on that straight away because it shouldn't be the case. So we've picked the design, and please keep the questions coming. It's the way to get most value out of it. Realistically, anyone's question is probably a question that everyone else is thinking. So in terms of these easements, that's definitely something we want to be able to show everywhere. So just let us know which area you cover, especially yourself, Kylie, and I think it was Kylie and Richard, and then we'll get onto that straight away and give you insight. So here we've picked the design, we've positioned the pool. Again, if you click on the design tab while you've got it focused on the house, it'll give you through all the design options. So for instance, for argument's sake, let's just do a grand al fresco modification. So there you go. You've got that grand al fresco change. You may notice the dashed line, if I go to architectural view, which is showcasing where the second level is. You can actually show the second level by clicking the half-colored house on the right-hand side and showing that top floor plate. So just a nice way to sort of switch between ground floor and upper floor. So you can do that, and you can always change the facade. Soon you'll see the actual facades here. We apologize for only listing the names first, but surely you'll be able to see a nice presentation of how that render looks. So we've picked the home, we've picked the pool, we've placed them both in. And you can keep adding. So say, for example, this is one of the best contracts you'll ever get. They also want a granny flap. So let's just go with a granny flap. Let's pick the Elise, named after our UX developer. And if you grab this, you'll be able to then show the client, and notice the setbacks change again. You can be able to see whether that fits in, and then you go, look, that doesn't fit, and then say, okay, well, can we move the pool somewhere else? I go, let's just line up the pool with the ground al fresco, so you can just walk right into your depth, and then sort of push the granny flat a little bit back, or move the pool to the side, or whatever it might be. So let's just see if that works in better, and then the client goes, yep, that works a lot better. And then let's line up the steps. But then you've got the sewer. Then you say, okay, let's move the house a little bit to the right. And you get the whole idea of what you're actually trying to do and avoid by using Canibuild. So here we've put the pool in, and we're trying to then click on the granny flat. And then you might say, look, we're getting too close to the sewer. Let's just pick a thinner granny flat. And then this is the whole idea. I hope you get that sort of feel. So let's just pick one that is narrow. Let's pick on that. And then you might say, all right, let's just run this guy on the side, on this side. Let's get rid of this guy by right-clicking and deleting. And then what we'll do is we'll position the pool at the back. And if you ever do get this blue effect, all you have to do is click one of the nodes to just get rid of it. We are working on fixing that, which is quite annoying. So again, we've got the granny flat. We moved the house to one side. We've got the granny flat, and then they go, let's have the door on that side. And then you can start getting an idea of how you can use the system in many ways. And then you say, okay, let's use the measuring tool on the right-hand side. line to maybe showcase a fence. So particularly relevant for granny flat companies. So you've got a fence here. Let's just dodge the manhole, cut that across and terminate. And now we can see that there's a fence line there. There is some 31 linear meters. You can sort of change the color so it's just a little bit clearer. Let's just go a bit wild. Let's go pink. And then we can sort of dash that if you really wanted to, or change the line. So dashed. So now we know we've got a granny flat, we've got a home, and we know what the rules are. We can check the pool. We can see what fits, what doesn't. We can avoid the sewer. You can see how you can sort of really maximize this use. Then you can go to aerial and see if there's any features or trees that might have to get rid of. So add annotation and employ arborist, whatever might be the case. So here we've done quite a bit. We've got another question. How can I flip the house to match the drive? Click on house. It's a really good question. Click on house. On the right-hand side, there's a bank of icons, little camera, squiggly lines, etc. There's this flip structure, which is just below the eye. So let's just flip the house. That's it, flipped. And now you can sort of position that there and then sort of go from there. So you can flip any structure. So say, for instance, this house, they don't want the door on the other side. Likely they would, or else, but say it's a family member for this granny flat. You can flip the design and have the door on the other side, rotate it, etc. So it's that simple. And you can do the same for the pool. If there was, in this case, you won't notice the flip because we'll just flip left to right. But there's these little small steps here, say for argument's sake, they want it on the other side, you could, etc., etc. So hopefully that answered your question. Now, we've done quite a bit here. Now what we typically do is a site plan. So we can click the cart, take advantage, and you can see you can purchase those other items, structural plans, etc. This will be for the granny flat, for the pool. You can see how you can order these in. But let's just go for the freebie ones. Click site plan, click order, agree to T's and C's, and go check out. And let's kick that off. While we're at it, let's also just kick off, say, a flyer. So let's click flyer and agree to T's and C's and go check out. And I hope everyone's following. I hope I'm not talking too fast. Again, I'm recording the whole session so you can have a look at it. And please, if you've got any questions, support@canibuild.com. You can ask me by name. I'll try to respond. We're here to assist you, pure and simple. So here, I've kicked off those 2 requests. You can see those 2 as pending, and when those finish, I'll showcase how they look. So clicking back, the other thing that I want to sort of point out is quote. Now, quote lets you sort of do a preliminary price guide. So, and this is really, really powerful now. We're going to release next month, and we'll showcase this in the next webinar, a proposal function. So you're able to build your entire proposal, the About Us page, the cover pages, the associated sort of pages that you want to sort of include, which is your pages, and I'll showcase how that's going to look. But here on the top, say you were doing a house, a granny flat and a pool, you can simply click on pools. It'll have the base price of the pool. If you click on house, it'll have all the house costs. So I had come here earlier and added a few items, but let's just delete those. So here it will have the optional 27,000 for that grand al fresco. So you can price your options. So it's automatically there. You've got the base price of the design. You've got the pool. If I move across, you'll be able to go through and pick, say, whether it's a granny flat. So here, the granny flat cost. Now, the reason they're broken up all in that way is you could have different price books for each build type. You have your pool price book, your granny flat price group, your house price group, pricing book. So say, for instance, in granny flats, if I click add item, the air conditioner, for example, if I go aircon, it'll show these aircons, 2.5 kilowatt, for example. Whereas if I go to houses and I go add item and go aircon, it's only showing the 10 kilowatt. So you can really gear it to make sure that your sales consultants or your sales don't mix things up. And then you click add that quote. Then you can go to pools and click add item, and let's go aircon. There's no aircon, which is probably a good thing for a pool. So here, but if you did want to do something for a pool, if you go clean, there's pool cleaning kit or whatever might be case relevant for pool. All the groupings, everything is in your control, and then you simply click get quote. Now, the good thing about get quote is you can even discount at the bottom. Say you want to discount 95% because you're feeling generous. It's going to restrict you. You can set guidelines as to how much you discount. It could be a percentage of the total. It could be a set dollar amount. So in this case, it's a set dollar amount. So let's go dollar. And let's go $900 if you kick off the architectural plans today. And then you go to cart and purchase it and go from there. So you click apply, you've done a discount, and then you can click get quote and click proceed. So here we've got the quote that will generate, and I'll be able to showcase that straight away as well. So I hope you can start seeing the power of that. And if I go to admin, and apologies, someone must be doing a demo alongside me. So here, if I go to branding, what you'll see here is the ability to change the branding. You can see when I've been jumping back in my demo account, our other consultants are changing the branding, but you can change how the quote looks. You can change how the flyer looks, and what more. By next month, you'll see a new tab here, which is proposal, and you'll be able to combine these in quite a rich document. You'll be able to arrange everything to be able to say, I want to be able to show my cover page, which is a branded cover page, of my about us, which is a team photo, and why pick us and why we're the best choice for you. And it'll draw from that. You can then plug in site plans, flyers, anything that the system generates. You can even plug in the reports that you purchase. You want to say, I want to show the title, I want to show the bushfire report. And if you've purchased those, the system will just plug it into the proposal. So it's pretty exciting what we can do there. So jumping back, we've got a few other questions. How can I flip the house to drive? I've touched on that one. Hi, Kylie. Jim. Oh, so Jim's already trying to help. So, what are the colors of the contours? I'll explain that. That's a good question. So let's just go this view, architectural view. Now, the colors of the contours is just, if you remember, red is the sun and blue is the ocean. It'll help you to remember that red is high and blue is low. So what this is basically showing is the contour lines are falling back from Abelia Street down towards Lavender Street. So this, there is a fall of the land. If I go to Google Street Preview, and let's just go to the side of the house so we can see how you can see that it's falling down. So it's basically showing you by how much it's falling. So from a 2D perspective, we can straight away see that the land is falling quite heavily, because each of these thick lines are 1 meter intervals. So basically what that means is from this line here, from this line, it's 1 meter drop now. So over 8 meters is dropping by 1 meter. Over 18 meters, it's dropping by 2 meters. Over 30 meters, it's dropping by 3 meters. So here, you know that it's falling 3 meters over this length. Each of the dashed lines are just 250 intervals. So just to reinforce that point, if I click on this line again and click edit and drag that, so drag that to there, that's 250, that's 500, that's 750, and then that's another meter. So hopefully that answers that question. And the colors are just simply grading from red to yellow to green and slowly grading to blue, so you can get that feel. But just to make your life a little bit easier, say you wanted to know what the fall of the land is over this pool area, rather than trying to count the dashed lines and say, okay, but what happens if it meets halfway and etc. On the right-hand side, the last icon, which is a cut and fill icon, if you click that cut and fill icon, it'll actually show you the fall at all four corners. So it's picking out, and I'm sure any pool builder that's joined us today would immediately know what this what this all means, the A, B, C, D. It's something builders are less familiar with it, but it's picking out the highest point, point A. It's showing you that that's level with the ground. Point B is also at the same level because the fall of the land is falling back from the street rather than side on. So this is at the same level as A, but point C has dropped by 0.5 meter, signified in blue. So that means the pool is 0.5 meter above the ground, and point D is less at 250. The advantage here is if you were to rotate this pool, you'll be able to see how this changes. Notice that the point A has changed, and now the fall of the land is more significant because you're actually going down with the fall. So this is a really good method to be able to talk to your clients and say, look, if we orientate it this way, there's going to be more additional costs. There's going to be more retaining. So here you can say, look, there's a 750 mil fall, you know, excusing the sewer, which will make this tough. But you may be able to then say, look, realistically speaking, we'll need to do retaining over this area. And then that retaining might look like something like that. We're going to need 14 linear meters of retaining. Since it's retaining, we can just showcase a little bit thicker. Is this what you want? No, I don't really want retaining. There's going to be steps, etc. I want the steps to be here. But you can see how you can just have this conversation, even over Zoom, and just start really talking in depth about their build without having to be an architect, without having to be an engineer, without having to be a surveyor. And we're trying to simplify these details like contours, etc., to the point where it's just both easy for yourselves to understand, but also for you to relate to the client. So when clients go, oh, site cost is just an excuse for builders to charge more money, you can say, no, not really. Like, here's the fall. It's 750 mil. It's half your height. So unless you're going to jump into the pool each day like a marathon runner, like, it's just not going to work. So we're going to have to retain it. We're going to have to level it out. We're going to have to do steps, and that costs money. And it just makes it easier. And then you say, look, for us, we're happy for it to be located somewhere else where the impact is less. And then the client hopefully takes more ownership of that decision. So we've done quite a bit today. The other things that I'm hoping that I can quickly touch on in the last 2 minutes, and feel free to barrage me with any questions that you might have. On the top, I've touched on the My Packages, but the other one that gets missed a lot is the one next to it, which is My Dashboard. If you click on My Dashboard, it's just a really easy way to just sort of go through everything that you've done. But so you've got your deals. So on the left-hand side, you've got 3 options: deals, orders, address book. Deals is basically everything that we've been searching. So you can filter by date. You can filter by any member of your team. So let's just unselect all and just click me. So you can see the addresses that I've had a look at. You can jump into any of those addresses. So let's just jump into an address in WA. You can search by WA, and then it'll start filtering down by, say, any keyword that you put in. So I'll try to put in something that makes sense, so Western Australia or Victoria or whatever might be the case. And then you click on that and it'll just jump to that address, which is nice. On the left-hand side below that, you've got orders. This is showcasing all the orders that we've requested. And then this is a nice way to be able to just simply click that little blue cloud and download it. So you don't need to go to that address. You can just get it from here and search from it here. And then finally is the address book. The address book is really good because if you did type in a client name and click on it, you can see the details there, but also you're able to then see what addresses are underneath them. So you can sort of jump to that address, so multiple deals, etc. So it's just an easy way to get back to it. So if someone calls you and say it's John Smith, you can just quickly type in John Smith, jump to the deal and go, yep. And it will fall back to exactly where you last left off. So this one's in South Australia. Have no idea what this looks like. Okay, so here, South Australia has very interesting setback rules. So here, the setback rule is the building line of the existing house. So the system's smart enough to do that. And this must be a garage shed company where there must be a triple garage thing looking there. And then you can see here, you just jumped and you know exactly how things look. So genuinely hope that everyone got a lot out of this session. For next month, we are looking to make a major new release. Fingers crossed we can do that. It's probably a game changer, and it will be the biggest feature release that Canibuild has done. So, I'm not naming it just yet, just in case we don't make that deadline, but we're very keen on being able to release that in the next webinar. So I really hope that everyone can sort of join back on next month at the same time. So first Thursday of every month at 11 o'clock, we do this FAQ hour. Genuinely hope you got a lot out of it. And please, there's another question, and I'll stick around if anyone's got any other questions, but how can I see the contours? Good question. On the right-hand side, anything you do on the map is found on the right-hand side below Hi Timothy on the top right-hand corner. If you've got me on a Zoom, you might have something covering it, but on the right-hand side, you should see a little camera, 2 squiggly lines. Click those 2 squiggly lines. They will generate contours for any block of land. That's as simple as it is. So this is slightly bigger, so you can see here, this one's quite dramatic, the contour lines. And I guarantee if you're a shed company or building on larger blocks of land, guarantee if you load these contours for this particular client, the first thing he's going to say is, can I have a copy of that? There's just no way that he or she won't ask for that, because for a surveyor to do it on a site like this, and if you click the eye on the address, and notice that's telling you it's acid, sulfur, and bushfire affected, which the bushfire is not a surprise. We've got here, it's a rural block, and then you're able to sort of see that, it's quite large. So these contours will cost quite a bit to sort of get done by a surveyor. And you can see how accurate it is. It is lining up with the topography of the site. If I go to the right-hand side, you can see that this creek valley overland flow area is being mapped out by the contours itself. And then to reinforce, always remember, red is high, blue is low. So in this case, you can see this land is falling from if you're facing the address, it's falling from the left-hand side of the front towards the right-hand side of the rear in a kind of sort of angled pattern. So, and then again, the dashed lines are 250. So over the existing house, the fall is 1 meter. If you want to be really exact, the fall is 250, 500, 750 mil fall. So if I map that out, you start from this line, that's 250 fall, 500 fall. So actually it's a 500 fall from there. So it's falling 500 by 21 meters. So they've probably leveled that patch out, which is why that contour line is quite spread. And then it starts diving down this hill. You can tell there's a hill there to this footpath driveway. Hope that answered your question. Okay, I've got ETA, we're in Canberra. That is strange. In Canberra, let's have a chat about that, Richard, because in Canberra, you should be seeing all electrical easements, all water, all stormwater, and the pipe is in there. So what you're actually seeing in our ACT, so what I'll do is let me just jump to the ACT and show. Tick, guys. So let's go ACT. And I'll go architectural. All right, so if you hover, you should see that electrical easement. The electrical wires will be going through there. If I go aerial map, you can see it on the aerial itself. So if I jump to bird's eye view, you can see those electrical lines there. So what in the ACT, the way the data is structured, it's quite good in my view. It's showing the entire area you can't build in. So here you can actually see those electrical lines. They're represented by that yellow band, giving you the entire width of where you can't build. At the back, you can see your stormwater drainage and electricity lines are also going back there, which I didn't think there was an electrical line there. So if I switch to it, there is. So you can see why this is powerful, because the electrical line actually dog legs at the back. So, but it also coupled with the sewer line, stormwater lines. So, okay, mid-north coast, Foster and Taree and Port Macquarie, we're actually working with the utility companies up there. We've been working quite strongly with Sydney Water. I'll get back to you, Kylie. I think Jim will be able to let you know how things are going, and I'll have a chat with the team. Currently, we currently see sewer. We are located in Camden. Get easements. Okay, so Camden, I believe you should see sewer. In terms of easements itself, again, in New South Wales, so excluding the ACT, they show it a little bit different. So if you're looking for a registered easement, the only way is to be able to purchase the DP from the marketplace, which is some $15 or whatever it is. And that's the only place registered easements are getting marked in New South Wales. I know that the New South Wales government is trying to digitize that, but they're ages away from doing that. The ACT government's light years ahead, and they've put easements. In Victoria, there's easements. In Queensland, there's easements. Unfortunately, New South Wales is a little bit behind in that regard. So we've been able to provide you with the sewer lines, but the other easements, not yet. So driveway access easements, encroachment easements, or any other registered easement, it's not there yet. But we should be able to supply more and more utility lines. So hopefully that helps. If you're talking about the zone of influence on sewer lines, you should see that as well in Camden. So hopefully that answers your question, Andrew. Again, any other questions, feel free to ask. But like I said, I'm here every month. I'll keep on doing these as long as you guys will have me. I really appreciate how many of you always jump onto these Zoom sessions, and definitely next month. Fingers crossed, without trying to give my developers too much of a heart attack, it should be a pretty interesting one. And when I say interesting, it'll be interesting. So it should be a full house. Really keen on sort of seeing you guys back then. But in the interim, first and foremost, stay safe, stay warm, and stay out of the rain. And please feel free to reach out to discuss whether it's about the marketplace, whether it's about the architectural plans, or turning anything on, or just a general sort of one-on-one refresher that you want to sort of speak to our trainer, Gianni. We're all helpful. So thanks, Kylie, for the kind words. It keeps us going, and sometimes I'm always trying to put in effort to make sure these sessions are genuine and real, and all about you guys as opposed to the hard sell. There's always a commercial reality, but realistically, I'll get a lot out of it if you guys get a lot out of it. So good luck, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your day. And again, reach out if you want to speak about anything that I touched on today. Take care, everyone. I'll awkwardly hang around for another minute or so, just in case someone wants to ask a question. So no. Yeah, so Richard, yeah, feel free to touch base. Water is a good question. reach out to us. We'll get back to you on that, Richard, and see what we can do there. I know we've got electricity, stormwater, drainage. I think the water is mainly because it's in the road, but I'll double check, and maybe that's why we haven't done it. But it's a good question. Let me get on to that. Aside from that, Richard, everything else has been working all right for you? I'll take that as a yes. Anyways, guys, enjoy everyone. Take care. Edward, did you have a question for us? Or was it just a wave of goodbye? I'm not sure. Either way, feel free to sort of reach out and ask any questions. Take care. Take care, everyone.